Alex. Welcome to Can We Just Talk?
Yeah! So excited, so thankful. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you. I first came across your profile because last week I was actually interviewing Swati, and just to know a little bit information about her, I was going through her Instagram and I came across your interview with her, and I was like, I have to get Mayama on my show. I was so fascinated because there's so much of information that both of you were talking about, and I feel like everyone should hear about what's going on. So firstly, for people who are watching this show right now and they're thinking like, what is a drag queen? What is drag? So what would you say?
So, drag is just an art form. It's not to be mixed with gender or sexuality. Drag queen means if a man performs as a woman or as an illusion of woman on stage, that's known as drag queen. Now, drag queens or drag has been there in our country for the longest time. Like, if you have to go through South India, or especially from where I am from Kerala, we have Kathakali, Teyyam, Yakshagana. All of these art forms have been there for the longest time, where men were the only ones allowed to perform as women. Women were not allowed to perform in these art forms. So that's what drag as an art form, and what you mean by drag queen as well.
And the thing is, a lot of people actually see, like in the movies that they watch, performance that they watch, that they actually see drag, but they don't recognize it as a drag. They are thinking, I'm just watching a movie, so this man is playing a woman character just for a while and then he's going to go back. But actually, it's what they're watching is a drag show.
Yeah, so if you go to my biggest go-to movie that I saw a drag queen literally was Kamala Hassan being as Avai Shanmugai, and literally playing this Tamil mami. I mean, when I saw her, I was like, oh my god, this is like larger than life character. Then my favorite scene in that movie is how she goes and she literally does all these martial arts and she hits people, hits men and all. I'm like, this is best scene ever to see, So, I mean, this is a go-to movie actually for everyone to watch actually.
Yeah, actually, when I was in the interview, when you was talking about Mrs. Doubtfire, and then I've always equate Mrs. Doubtfire with Avai Shanmugi. It's pretty much the same. So I'm like, that means what Kamal Hassan did was also drag, but none of us would actually like think about it in such a way. We just think that Kamal Hassan is doing one of his another roles where he's acting as someone else, right? So it has been around for years and years and years. But when you put like a name to it, people start to like, no. They start to reject it. Why do you think that is?
See, the thing is, we live in a patriarchal society. Literally, if I have to put it in simple ways, being a man actually is the pro. Like being a masculine person is literally accepted. But if a person becomes more feminine and that's a very feminine expression and all, they are being suppressed. They are no longer given the power. They are not given a voice for them to. So for a man to be expressive femininely is seen as a no. Nobody should see that. A man has to be a man, a woman has to be a woman, but nothing in between. And that is something which we have been always trying to blur or trying to make people understand that there are different kinds of people out there. There are different kinds of communities out there who want to actually, have fun. Because, see, life is very serious always. So drag is all about having fun, not taking life so seriously. We actually mock all these gender stereotypes, actually.
Okay, and how did this personality Mayama come within you? How young were you and how did it get formed?
So drag was not new to me when I turned 25 years old. I have been watching a lot of movies since I was young, and it was in school when I wanted to really get into theater or some sort of art form, anything related to art. there was a fancy dress competition, but I didn't start it when I was very young, and everybody starts it very young. I started getting into fancy dress competition when I was in 11th grade. So in 11th grade, if you know the movie Manichitratal, where Shobana acts as Nagavali, I saw that movie and I'm like, this is my character. I need to play this character. And 11th grade, my mom and we went to a costume store. We got the Bhadrati costume, a wig for rental, all the jewelry for rental, and I went there with the help of my schoolmates. One schoolmate actually said the whole Tamil dialogue. One actually sang the Tamil song, and I actually lip synced, and I actually lip synced to the whole thing, and I won first prize for it.
Wow!
And this was in 2004. Yeah, this was in 2004. But it's like how it is with society, right? They'll be like, okay, it's just one time thing, don't do it again, all of that. So after that, come 10 years, I had this whole, I was into theater, I was performing, but everybody was telling me, hey, you've got a very feminine side to you, you've got a very thick Mallu accent, because being in Bangalore, you have to be posh and all, okay, full on Anglican accent and all you have to have. So for me, I'm like, why are people saying stuff which is a part of me? I can't remove it. It's a part of me, ingrained in me. So that is when I saw Mrs. Darfa, I saw Chachi Chasubis, I saw Abhay Shanmugai, I saw all of these movies, and I'm like, why can't I make her from Kerala? This Malayali Kutti from Kerala, she's from this village in Kuttanad, and she's actually going to Bangalore to live with the love of her life. That is the story. And that is how Mayamma, Maya the drag queen, was born.
And you said that Mayamma is basically the mother of illusions when you get on stage.
Yes. Because I perform to the illusion of being a woman on stage.
That's very nice. And what was your first performance on stage like?
To be honest, I was really scared because I'm wearing sari for the first time. Even though in school I wore the Bharatanatyam costume, so you're always hidden everywhere. But then in the sari, I was wearing my mother's sari. I borrowed it from her, wearing even her blouse and all of that. And everything was borrowed, and whatever money I had, it was like putting all your money's worth into getting all the stuff. So, and I was literally walking to the stage, and I'm like, where is this sudden air coming on my stomach and in my legs and all of that? And I was getting a little scared. But then I was like, listen, you're doing this for yourself. You're going to have fun, and just that is all you need to do. And when I go on stage, I had a friend of mine. His name is Romal. We both do a duet, which is known as Appangal, from the movie Ustad Hotel, Malayalam movie Ustad Hotel. We both sang it as a duet, and in the end, I danced to Kajarare from the movie Bantya Babli. And that is how my first performance was. My only goal for the performance was just to make people happy and make myself happy. That's all I wanted to do. But then with that, rest is history. Rest is like, whenever I go back, I'm like, I didn't even think I would reach to this point.
Yeah. And like what you said, that you have reached to this point, a point that means you're traveling the world, you are going tech talks, and you are going, you're spreading awareness about drag as an art form. So it's been very, very impressive. One of the things that you said in your tech talk was that you want to, you believe that all of this starts in school, and you want to reach out to schools and you want to talk to students about this. How has that journey been like?
So, the thing is, when I started doing research on how why people are being so homophobic and transphobic, they're not ready to accept the community, I realized it starts in school, it starts in colleges. So if you see, most of my TED Talks happen in colleges. And I reached out to schools and all of that. So the first school I reached out to, they had students from kindergarten to 10th standard. They all were watching me. And their questions range from, are you a transgender? And what is that thing on your head?
Mm.
So basically, if you come to notice, children don't have that conditioning. They are with an open mind. They are ready to accept anything that you show and you tell them. So it's up to parents to actually tell them, listen, there are people out there who are not like you, and you should have an open mind to accept them the way they are. That is how parents should actually do their parenting, which according to me, I can be wrong. But then with this, that is what I wanted to tell children as well. I wanted to say, see, this is me. I am a performer, I'm an artist, and that's all it matters. So within they were like, oh, then we need to see the magician inside of you. So you remove everything, all your drag, and come and show us. So I thought they were just joking because you know how children are, no?
Yeah.
They just joke like that and like that. But when I was changing everything, they waited. They made the bus wait. They were all supposed to go home. They made the bus wait because they wanted to see me out of drag. They wanted to, so they stood in a line and they waited till I came out as Alex. For the first time, everybody kept coming to me and saying, oh, you're a celebrity, you're a celebrity. Yeah, cool, whatever, like that, But then for me, the first time I felt I was a celebrity was with children. Because children made me feel like that because they wanted to see the person who created, this whole persona.
Yeah.
So that is when I felt like, oh my God, this is where my work lies. This is where I have to educate people on. And since then, I've been getting into webinars, getting into panel discussion, teaching children, even if they're in college, school, about the community, about drag as an art form.
Wow, that's impressive. And it's all about sharing your story, right? It's just about sharing where you came from, sharing other people's story. And there must always be like, is there like a child who have heard your story and felt and your story like really inspired him and got him out of a troublesome situation, and then he came out of whatever like a depression or suicidal experience?
So I was part of there's a concept called as human library where you become as a book. You actually there are people who come to you and you say the whole story, and they actually ask questions where they're like, what do you think about this? What do you think? So that was happening in a session, and I had a boy who came, seemed feminine also, like in demure and all that, but I didn't want to make any assumption. I'm like, okay, you are who you are. He came, and in the end of the session, he told me, I've been going through this trouble of being in a family where I've been subjected to shock treatments for who I am. I have been subjected to, I have been going through depression because my parents are telling me that I should not be like this. I should not be feminine. I should not be, be so open about myself. I should conform to my religion. All of that. So for me, it was alarming moment for me. I'm like, what should I do as a person? What should I help? And the first thing I did was I made him get in touch with an organization, a queer organization, and get him help. Now, today, if I look at the person is actually a book.
Oh,
so
wow.
If I was a book, the person became a book in human library. So he's sharing his story. He has come out of his parents, like being controlled by his parents and living his own life, which is for me great to see. So I did the right step. I did that the right time.
Yeah.
And he always, whenever he sees me, he says that I owe my life to you because, of you doing at the right time at the right place. So for me, I'm like, okay, fine. I'm doing a right thing. That's always a guarantee for me.
Okay, that's great. That's very, very good, because not just this point, I'm sure there are other people who have seen your work, your share, listened to your story and felt the same way. Even if they have never said anything to you, they must have like felt it. Okay, if he's doing it, his journey, I can relate to it. Even though the story might be different, but I feel like I can still relate to it, and it has inspired me.
There are people out there, and for me, I the only thing I say is, I'm doing what I love to do. There's nothing more than that. I'm just
Yes.
doing, and I'm living myself. I'm just like, I took the right step. Like, can you imagine? Okay, 25 years of my life, I've been listening to other people telling me what to do, what I should do, how should I be living. To a point where my parents actually told me, saying that you should buy a car, you should buy a flat. And I'm like, for who should I buy a flat and car? No, you are going to get married, right? So you should get. And I'm like, hold on, I am not going to get married. This is who I am. So, I mean, for it should be, if I'm buying a car or a flat, it should be for me ultimately, not for my future wife and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was conformed to that, but then with after 25, that is when I came out of the closet, started performing in drag, and since then I've never looked back.
And when you first told your mom, hold on, and you explained to her, you came out of the closet and you explained how did she react? How did your immediate family people react? And how did your friends and people just in your surroundings, in your WhatsApp group, everyone react?
So back then, WhatsApp was still new. Okay,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
what happened? Yeah, so groups and all were suddenly new. I don't think groups are also back then. But then anyway, what happened was, how Indian parents are. They are
Yes,
dramatic. They love to enact Karan Johar and Nectar
yes.
Kapoor mixed together. They love to be like that. But then my mom was like, "Go to hell with your sexuality. I don't care about your sexuality, but you should not do drag." But dad was like, sexuality is a sin, but drag is okay as long as you get paid for it. And I'm like, what is happening? Two poles, two poles, and then they're North Pole, South Pole.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I gave them time. I'm like, I think they need time and space. And we fought. There was so much drama. We were silent. We didn't reach out to each other. Come March 2016, they moved to Bangalore. My mother, grandmother, and all was in Kerala, and my dad was in Delhi, working in Delhi. We all came together. We understood that we're hurting each other, and that we should try to understand each other. With that, it was not easy. Like, immediately we meet, and suddenly everybody is like, now brainwave happened. No, nothing like that. uh, they were like, we will try to understand you, tell us about it. And it was a journey to come 2018, when the repeal of section 377 happened, is when they were like, i I understand you now. And my mom gave me my first dating advice, saying that if you're ever going to meet a guy, you better, like, not moving so quickly, wait for a year, try understand how he is and all of that, and then do the. So for me, that's how I knew that she understood me finally. Friends, I'm telling you, friends, it's like in my life, I've realized that friends are like chapters. They keep coming, they're going, keep coming and going. So I I only choose friends who are ready to accept me for who I am, who's ready to understand me the way I am, and that's all matters to me. So.
Oh, that's great. So I'm very curious to know, what is the personality difference between Alex and Mayama? Like, how is Mayama like and how is Alex like? Are they the same, or what is it?
So I keep saying they are same. That the traits of Alex is the same as Maya, just that I amplify it a lot on stage. That I keep doing this whole big persona on stage. The one thing that I would like to incorporate of Maya's quality in Alex's life is being elegant. She brings out elegance like as if it's easy. From a twirl of pallu, it's very easy.
Yeah.
But as Alex, as Alex, I walk around, in boxer shorts, in t-shirts. Sometimes I don't even comb my hair. All of that stuff happens. So that is one thing that I want to learn from Maya.
And do you feel like as Mayama that you have more confidence? I'm asking these questions because I play a character as well. Like I play this mom character called Amada.
I've seen it. You're amazing. You're
Thank you.
amazing at it.
Thank you. So when I play Amada, like when people I go for interviews, when I talk to people, they're like, "Oru line Amada mari pesunga." Like let's just be Amada like for 1 minute, and I'm like, "Hey, Allah, you just can't come like that, you know. I have to get in costume." Like, so it's like the bun, the dress, it is like the earrings, everything has to be in there, and then it's like I change into a different person. So when I'm a Amada, it's like as a character, I feel like I'm more confident. I'm like more like in your face. I will tell you as like what you just said, like as Alex, right? Like half the time you're not combing your hair, half the time you're just like lying down there, like and you don't care if the room is dirty. Like that is who I am. Like so when you are Maya, do you feel like you have more confidence, you have more swag?
So as as Bayama, I'm kind of more like I don't even have to try. It just comes like this easily, the way I talk and all of that, the femininity and all of that will come out ooze like very easily. There are times when I have to put on a wig, I have to put on a sari, even if I didn't put makeup to get into the character.
Yes.
There are times when you give me five minutes. I said, give me 5 minutes. I will immediately say talk like Maya. Like for me, that's how the thing is. So it's always like you have to get me in the right mood
Exactly.
like me. So this is how for me also, like there are people who say, okay, do your impression of Usha Uttur, do your impression of this, do your impression of Lola Kuti, all of that, and I'm like, hold on, give me 5 minutes. I need to get into the mind space, and then I will do it.
Yeah. Like when I go to radio interviews and everything, yeah, like ஒரு minute ஒரு line சொல்லுங்களா அம்மாடாவா, and I'm like, huh? Hello, I need to wear my dress, I need to wear my konde, like calm down. I cannot become that person so fast. When your story, obviously, you're sharing your story so that someone could out there, not just people who come to see you, but on social media, anyone could just listen to your story, and it could be a child and relate. So you do a lot of advocacy work as well, right? You are ally of the LGBT, but I'm sorry.
LGBTQIA.
Yeah. Yes, I'm always, whenever I want to say it fast, I'm always tadamaran. Okay, so as people who are allies, we are supporters of the movement. So how can we support? How would you like want us to support?
So Kelly, what you're doing right now, you're actually interviewing me, you're actually making me share my story itself is a way how you're supporting me. You are actually doing that as an ally. See, the thing is, ultimately, what happens is people don't share stories. People don't empathize the other person as a human being. Ultimately, it's about being humane, irrespective of their gender and sexuality. So people tend to forget that. So share stories, support artists, support people from the community, make understand them. There are times when we need people to listen to us, listen to our troubles, and allies can do that. Allies can actually say, hey, you know what, I can be a listening ear. I have the time, I'm ready to listen to you. And that is more than enough for them, because there is someone actually out there listening to what they are going through, the troubles that they're going through. And that is what allies can do: share our stories, listen to us. And in a way, if you share the story on your social media, you are empowering us as well, because that is what you're giving them a voice. So that's what matters as allies. You can do the first steps you can do as allies.
Okay. And what about families where children are growing up and they feel like, when like a boy starts walking a bit feminine, like he starts walking a bit differently like than what a man is supposed to walk like, and his father is like beating the crap out of him. Hey, olanga nada, like walk properly, and ஆம்பளை மாதிரி நட, like don't cry, men don't cry, and all these things is being conditions, like what you mentioned earlier, like this conditions placed on our children, right? So as parents, as new parents as new parents, or just parents who are seeing some change within their teenage son or teenage daughter, or just a child, what can they do? What's their first steps that they can do?
Stop assuming, because the first thing that a parent should do is stop assuming their sexuality. Don't equate saying that my child will be straight. Not all children are straight, okay? You can't assume like that. Be with an open mind. Think that your children can be part of the community and can be also heterosexual as well. But then have an open mind and teach them that there are different kinds of people out there, and you are open to listening to them. If they have troubles going around, where I've had troubles in school where boys actually said you walk like a lady, even though that for me right now is a compliment. Back then I didn't find it as a compliment. So I used to come back to my mom, and my mom used to keep saying that it's just a face. It's just a face. But ultimately, the truth was it's not a face. This is who I am. And cry, the thing is, we need to normalize crying. Everybody has tear ducts. We all have, as human beings, we have. So we as human beings, if you look at human beings, even look at animals, they all cry. We all cry. So you have to make sure that if they get hurt, we are human beings with emotions, and if we cry, let them cry, because that is what you need to do. And don't put gender to it, don't put sexuality to it. They are human beings and they have emotions, and that's all it matters.
Yeah. And also some people also confuse drag with being transgender, cross-dressing. So for people who confused with that, how can you address that?
I keep saying drag is an art form. And if you can see Kamala Hassan, who's a straight man, performing as Avai Shanmugai, then I, as Alex, can perform as Maya.
Yeah.
It's a simple, that is how it can be. But that doesn't mean that trans women can't do drag. I've seen trans women doing drag. That doesnn't mean a cross-dresser can't do drag. A cross-dresser can do drag as well. So ultimately what it means is drag is an art form, and that people should actually treat it as an art form and not mix it with gender or sexuality.
So, I actually only saw one of your TED Talk, and then you say that you actually have done a few, is it? 3. Wow. You're always on stage.
I love stage. You give me a stage with 5-10 people, then also I will go and entertain people. I will do that.
One thing that you said that really resonates with me is how you said that you just got on stage because you just want to make people happy, right? I mean that's the whole reason why I also started doing my skits and stuff, just to make people happy. The joy in some people say, like, but why? They don't understand that some people will just do it to just make people laugh, like just make people happy. They don't get it. They're like, but why? What do you get out of it? Like, they have they go through that.
So the same thing happened with me when I started creating TikTok videos. So TikTok videos, you can do n number of expressions. You can be like how animated you can be. So people are like, why are you doing TikTok videos? And I'm like, I'm just making people happy. Lockdown happened, coronavirus all out there. I just want people to be happy. That's what I do. So I completely resonate with you. When I started watching your videos, I'm like, you and I, we are the same.
Yeah.
We do the same thing to people. We just make people happy and just make them, like, laugh out loudly.
Yeah. when I first started doing Amara character, for the first 3 years, I was like, oh, like my mind was not even like in the whole like making money out of this or things like that. And then only I was like, oh, I can make a career out of this, make money out of this. That thought only process came after a while. So for you, when you first started out, you were starting to do it as like passion, like making people laugh. So did you have like, I mean, what do I get now is that like in 4 years I've been doing this, you know, people will start coming in and they're like, hey, you know what, I can help you turn this into like a business, you can make this into a business, and you can like mainstream this, like whatever, you know. So do you have people coming in and trying to like make change what you're currently doing into like a business, and how are they trying to change?
So this happened with me in my first few years of Maya, and then after that, when they notice how rigid I am with who I am and how I am strong and I'm not going to change what people told me to do, they just gave up. So then ultimately what happened was Alex became the manager of Maya. And I started getting requests, and I started answering it as if I am the manager of Maya. Maya is, this is a quota, this is a thing, take it or leave it. You want me in drag, you have to pay. That is my way of saying it to them, you know, that if you want me in drag. So ultimately it came to a point where I reached an influencer status because I'm influencing my audience to, you know, be aware of the community, understand the community in a different way altogether. Like not like always education, 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 but in a very like, hey, you know, there is different sides to it. I'm showing different colors to it. So yeah, I do. So basically, if I have to put it in a short way, Alex is the manager of Maya.
Oh, that's a very, very good way of saying it. So now I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Kelly is the manager of Amada, because what I started, what I started realizing is, even when I'm like discussing script with like, because when I was doing this television show and I'm like telling the director and the writers and everything, I'm like, yeah, but Amada wouldn't do this, you know, she wouldn't do this, and I'm sitting here and I'm talking to her, talking like as if it is like a completely different person. They're looking at me, you mean you cannot do this? And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. But it's like it's like, because it's like, no, it's like Amada cannot do this, you know. So it's like I'm like the manager speaking, like, no, she wouldn't. Even me, when I'm sitting and talking, right, I'm discussing the script with my mother, and I'm like, and then she will do this and she will do this. My mother's like, you know, you're talking about you, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, that's what happens when you make.
I can't. So even the same thing happens to me when I talk to my mother. My mother says, she will never do this. She won't do this. And my mother looks at me like as if, is everything all right with you? Like, why are you referring yourself as she and all of that? So then I'm like, Ma, please don't even think about all of this. This is me only. Like that's what I keep saying.
And how has your life changed, you know, ever since more people started recognizing you? Has Alex, has Mayama, how has the world changed around you?
So I keep saying that Mayamma actually yanked Alex out of the closet because I performed for the first time in September 2014, and I came out of the closet in October 2014. And my life has changed completely. Like, I see the world in a different view. I don't follow what other people are doing. I'm following what I want to do and what I love to do. There has been times when I feel I was very not confident before I got out of the closet, and now I'm like confident. I'm like, you tell me this is who I am, I will tell you, no, that's not who I am. This is who I am because I know who I am.
Exactly.
You know, that's how I tell people. And ultimately, what I've reached a point where I'm able to gauge people better, because you know, it's when you reach your 50s or late 40s, you understand, oh shit, people are like this, people like shitty people, people try to make use of you and all of that stuff. But then it dawned to me within the first 3 years of me performing as Maya that people are like this. You need to be able to gauge very better, and with that, I'm able to be who I am, independent, which I always wanted to be. And by looking at my mother when she was, taking care of us when my dad was in Gulf, um, she actually behaved like a superwoman. And whenever I grew up, I watched her. I was like, I also want to be a superwoman, irrespective of what my gender and sexuality was. And ultimately, Myanmar has reached that status of being a
Yes.
superwoman, uh, being for the community, talking about the community. So ultimately, like what I dreamt of happened. So yeah.
What are you currently working on what is your future plans, I mean, after all this lockdown all finish?
So after lockdown, so what I'm doing is I'm currently working on a script which is for a web series. I'm taking my own sweet time, laying eggs, trying to hatch it in a very proper way. And so post lockdown, post coronavirus, I would love to see it happen where I'm the central character. I've also for Maya, it's not just only Myanmar. So I've created a lot of different
Oh.
characters as well within Myanmar. Because see, the thing I think people don't understand is drag is all about shape shifting.
Mm.
So I don't have to be always Myanmar.
Mm.
I can be Eliama, I can be Maleswaram Maya,
Mm.
I can be different kinds of Maya. So ultimately, this is who I created. Her name is Eliama, and she's living in Bangalore. And she has help as well. Her name is Jayanti. So we both are actually living together. So the web series is about that.
Oh, okay. And then you have this
And I'm actually openly saying this first in your show. I've
oh
never said this openly anywhere else.
அவாடா எனக்கு ஒரு எக்ஸ்க்ளூசிவ் கிடைச்சிட்டு எக்ஸ்க்ளூசிவ் and
Yeah, I've never spoke. I just came in the flow. Actually, I never spoke about it. Usually, I'd be like tight lipped. I'm like, no, I won't say. But then for you, I was like, let you go. Let you'll understand better. This is me. This is who I am. So
yes.
yeah.
And what about this show? I'm not sure if I've seen it correctly. Chaya with Maya or Maya with Chaya. There was this one show, right? What is that thing?
Chaya with Maya. Chaya
Okay.
with Maya.
Okay.
So
What is that show?
literally in Malayalam, it means Chaya means tea with Maya. So
Oh.
the reason why I started this show is actually to show people that there are people from the community who live as human beings, or who live as like if I'm going to gym and that other person is going to gym, he might be straight or she may be straight, but I'm part of the community, but we do the same things together. So ultimately, I interview people, prominent people from the LGBT community, and try making people understand that hey, there are people from the community and we're just human beings all together.
Is
So
it?
that's the point of the show.
Is that like a sketch, or is it like a coffee with Karan kind of stuff?
It's don't compare me with coffee with But it's an interview. It's an interview format where I interview people from the community, and we do a little bit of games. Never have I ever. I ask very questions, which is not for the people should not be diplomatic about it. They should
Oh.
just say what they have in their mind. So
Okay.
that's what I do in the show.
So there's a lot of projects that you're working on. Now I want to ask you a question. I have for a very, very long time, ever since Amada character was created, I've always thought of bringing Amada on stage. It's like, this is also exclusive
Yes.
because I have never talked about this. Is I have only within my own family. So it's like, I have thought about bringing Amada on stage, and I am petrified. Like, because I've always had this fear that I will break out of character. I've never been somewhere where I'm like in character for so long. I'm always shooting at home. Like, who cares if I break the character, right?
Mm.
So it's like, how long can I be in character? What if I break character? What if something happens and I have to break character? Like all this is going through my head to do like a stage play and things like that. How would you advise me? Because you and I kind of same.
Yeah, we are the same. So the thing is, I would keep saying practice, because practice makes you perfect. So when you go on stage, the thing is, first of all, you will be blinded by light. Okay, so you will not see anybody sitting there.
Oh,
This
really?
is my advice to you. You won't see people's faces. So you will be in your character. And then there might be people who would be saying something from the audience, but with your improv skills, you can actually turn and say, yeah, what man? Like, you could actually reply to them and then come back to your scene. So ultimately, I think, Kelly, you can do it. Like, you just have to just keep practicing, just get on stage, just be who you are, and Amada will come out. You will need to.
Awesome. I admire you. I mean, you're on stage, you're performing to an audience. I mean, I have so much to learn from you. So I like that. I admire you very much.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Like I must, like, I don't know how you churn out scripts, because whenever you do scripts, you can only like put in so much, right? But you immediately, like, you do it so well. You do it really like rapidly. That is something which I need to learn from you, actually. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Do you want me to do a little bit of Maya?
If you can.
So I will do Maya, and then I suddenly will go into my Usha Uthup impersonation. So I'm going to start with Maya and then go into Usha Uthup.
Okay.
Hello, cuties and cuttins, how you're doing? I'm Maya the drag queen, and I'm all the way from Kerala. Now I'm going to do a little Usha Uthup impersonation for you. Ente Keralam, Yatra Sundaram. Come on, everybody. Ente Keralam, Yatra Sundaram. Dhammaro Dhamma, Miti Jayagam. Bolu Subhasham, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ramba ho 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 ho, Samba ho 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 ho. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Have you ever performed in Singapore?
No, I think I got the chance, like someone called me to perform, not perform actually, to host a dance competition or something. But then I think around that time something happened. They had issues, funding or something like that. So that went.
Oh, okay.
But then I was very close to coming to Singapore, very close.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, I look forward. If you ever come to Singapore, we definitely have to catch up.
Yes, might as well. Maybe whenever you have lot of stage shows, I'll come as a character and I will come as perform for you.
Wow, amazing. Oh man,
That excitement
Thank you so much, Alex, for coming on. Can we just stop? Thank you very, very much. I'll end the show right here.
Thank you so much, Kay.